evening. Good evening. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evening edition. On deck, you have drum roll, please. Uh, Mr. Allan Lengel, my East Side Al.
East Side Al.
Brother, look, he and I fight sometimes, but guess what, Allan? It's all love. Never take it personally. It's all love,
Absolutely.
Jim, my guy, Jim Nardone, the
Good evening.
baddest cop in the Metro Detroit area, the baddest retired cop in the Metro Detroit area.
One of many.
Jim Nardone from Trenton. Good evening.
Good evening.
And listen, I know, you know what? I'm going to say this. We posted it. Adolph is coming on. People can ask all the questions they want to ask or not ask, but he will be on today. And I know you guys have been waiting for it, and we have been waiting for it. But good evening, everyone. Kenneth Reed, he said the debate was interesting. Deborah Harris, she said, good evening, the debate about what you are going to do about the east side of Detroit. All the talks about the west side where you grew up. Oh, wow. Who is this? Janet Luck. Hey, Janet, she said, hello, good evening. All looking forward to the show. Dawela. Good evening. Right.
Hey, Dawela.
Stephanie Jackson, Janet Overall, Eric Brown, bonjour, Karen Winston, Kenneth Powell. Good evening, everybody. If you are watching Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evening edition, you know what we want you to do? We want you to give us some love. And how can you give us some love? Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. You can catch Detroit in Black and White on all social media platforms. And guess what we want you to do? We want you to tell all your friends about what? The greatest show on the what? On these YouTube streets.
Hey, Dorian, Janet, and Jill from our friend from Florida.
Yep. So, I don't know who want to start off. I didn't watch the debates, but I will say this. My phone was blowing up. I had to go. I went to a birthday dinner. I was invited to a birthday dinner. I have my coat on because I went to Sexy Steak and I put on a little sexy dress, but I didn't want to excite all the people in the YouTube land. So I'm keeping my coat on.
Well, let's let the journalists speak.
Everybody was texting me. So we're going to go with Allan. Eastside Al. I hear
Eastside Al and the journalist. Deadline Detroit.
I thought it was an interesting. I mean, they both went at it. I mean, really, they delivered. They delivered what you wanted to see. You wanted to see them talk. They talked policy, but they also attacked each other. I mean, Kinloch. I talked to Ed Sarpolis afterwards. I'm working on a story which I didn't get to finish, but Ed was saying he saw it as a draw, but he said Kinloch had a better second half and that he had a better closing. And he says the problem is with only 3 weeks left, where has he been the last 5 or 6 weeks going on the attack? I mean, and he says he's got to now be super aggressive for the next 3 weeks with this same type of attack. Mary talked a lot about policy, things that she had done. Kinloch came back and said, you've been here for 12 years. Now you're just talking about, we have kids, more than 50% living under poverty. They took shots at each other. He attacked her for the tickets to the concert, to the Jeezy concert,
right.
and saying, and which had been rumored, and he threw it out, and she did not respond. He said, you not only gave the tickets away, but you sold them. She did not respond. She responded back and said, you had your church buy you a home, and he did not really respond to that. And so they went at it, and they accused each other of being disingenuous and really untruthful. They went at it. And so in the end, I think Mary's way ahead, or has been way ahead. Can he close the gap? The question is, in the next 3 weeks, he's got to be. He should have been doing this for 5, 6 weeks already, and he hadn't been. And she's got a lot more money. She's got a lot more support. So we'll see. But it was he got in his punches. I mean, he held his own. She held her own, but she had to be a little bit more on the defense because she's got to defend a city that still has problems, even though
it has a plethora of problems. But
Yeah.
here's the thing: you said, Allan, that she, he attacked her and talked about some of these things that he should have been talking about earlier. I think the press has a whole lot to do in shaping this race. Okay, you got the Detroit Free Press that says that they're endorsing her. You know what? You're a great reporter. You listen to the people in the streets. But these other reporters, they hear it and they turn a blind eye. And I don't understand why. Why would they turn the blind eye? My thing is, both of them running, both of them deserve the same scrutiny from the media. And that has not happened. You have Robert Davis, and I don't care what nobody says. And, by the way, I'm getting ready to run for office again. But he is a hired hand. And nobody has said anything about that. This guy, listen. He's a hired hand. He does not do this for free. Trust me. And so the media has...
He denies that, but...
Of course he does, but this is listen, if y'all want to believe he's rehabilitated, he has not been, okay? He still owes the school district that is defunct over $200,000. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I know somebody that he went after. He went after them all the way up until the election. And then he said, oh, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. Okay. This guy, nobody has ever even asked him. You say he denies it. Of course he denies it.
I've asked him.
Okay. Whatever. So I just think that they have not, the media, not you, but the media in general knows. They hear what's going on. They knew about these Jeezy tickets, okay? Whatever they say about it. They know some things, but they have refused to give her. My thing is, give her the same scrutiny that you give him. You said they went at it. She talked about him buying the church. He talked about them doing the tickets. Look, politics is dirty. That the fact that, he says the church, and I'm a member of the church, so I was interested in that story. But I just think that both parties should have gotten the same scrutiny. Moving forward, hopefully they will.
I'll just add one thing and let Jim jump in here. I'm sorry. The Free Press today had a story, a very detailed story about Mary's policies and about her legislation over the last 12 years. What it tended to, and the reporter who did it used to work for Deadline Detroit. She's a great reporter. And I told her, I thought what it was missing was that there's allegations, which the Reverend brought up this evening. He said, talking about who you're hanging out with, saying there's Mary's. He said, you're questionable people you've been hanging out with. And he brought that up. And,
So do you know who he's talking about? Do you know who he's talking about?
Yeah. There's some people.
Tell our viewers who he's talking about.
I don't want to name names here, but there's certain people that have been convicted of crimes for bribery and stuff like that who are, part of her campaign or hanging out with that.
It was in Deadline Detroit. What are you talking about, Allan?
Yeah. Well, we have published. I mean,
go back and see it.
Adolph
I'm getting ready to go look at Deadline Detroit.
Adolph Mongo wrote the article. He named names.
We have named the names before. What's his name? Rayford Jackson, and then there's another Jackson who was involved.
Michael Jackson, but not that Michael Jackson.
No, who's been involved in helping her raise funds and stuff like that. So that's, he raised that question. I can't remember. He raised another question about basically her integrity there, and so they called each other liars. And it was
the two ministers calling each other liars.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, so it was pretty. And then the affordable housing came up, and Kinloch said, "Affordable for who?" And so then she said, all your fellow pastors, a lot of them have been involved in adding housing to the market here, affordable housing, and you have added nothing. So then he said, don't you undermine what I've done for the community, giving out, food and this and that, and helped all, the homeless and all this stuff. And she said, well, don't you undermine what I've done, giving away, backpacks and helping the poor, all that stuff. So it was what you would hoped it would be, in terms of a debate. It was good. It was a good debate, I think. Jim, you.
Well, I like what Vanessa talked about, the news and the free press, and we need that needs more than 2 minutes to talk about. But I want to talk to our friends first. Karen Winston, she didn't watch it. Karen, they talked about something that was of interest to you, a 13th check, and my first reaction, I thought about Karen and thought, a 13 check doesn't even the score. Deborah Harris, he brought up the clique she hangs out with, bad company. Liars, MZ Suzuki, it could be. He spoke about having notes on her, Eric Brown, but choosing not to use. And Eric also talked about the press. Allan, you are a reporter. Queen Bee, thank you for tuning in, Queen Bee. We know you're busy. She asked you to spit it out. Allan, maybe. I think you did.
Well, I did.
Like, share, edutainment. Kenneth Powell, 2145. Queen Bee, I was surprised. I heard that one mic was closed. MZ Willis.
It's
Martin.
closed. They didn't even own it. But
hello, Willis. It is a dirty game. Eric also talked about it. Tamika said something really interesting. Here it is. Mary gave kids pink bikes, but wasn't concerned that they didn't have a safe place to ride. She's all for show, and that's interesting because that's kind of my take of the whole debate tonight. You might as well go to the Fisher and see Hamilton because it was about as well rehearsed. This time it'd be victorious. Jeezy tickets. That's where I want to start. Okay. Deborah Harris, his church bought a house for this and sold. So when I first, Mr. 1213, thanks for tuning in. We finally got it right. You had to spell it out for us. Thanks for Mr. 1213, MR. We called him MR, and we were, we knew what you were saying, but we were kind of screwed up there a little bit. Mary talked about lowering property taxes. I cracked up. How could she lower property taxes? Approving tax abatements, our friend Queen Bee. So this is where I want to start. I really wasn't concerned with the Jeezy tickets, but now I am, and I'm going to tell you why. If it's this is Gordon Graham, the famous risk management guru. If it's predictable, it's preventable. Well, here's where I have a problem with the Jeezy tickets, right? Comerica Park, I'm going to tell you right now, there's video of those people that were at Comerica Park that attended that concert, that sat in those seats. They have pictures of those people. She needs to tell us who she sold the tickets to or who she gave the tickets to. Comerica needs to go back and she needs to explain that. Simple solution. I gave them to my cousin, Tony and Tiffany. And here's Tony and Tiffany sitting in the seats with their 4 kids or their 2 kids. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. Let's put an end to this. And you can clear your name and say, this is exactly what I did. She's not doing that. So the point I'm trying to make is it went from, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Right. It's no big deal. It was no big deal when Kwame started doing little shit. Well, it is a big deal. It's a big deal because of her reaction to it. That's my position.
I think it was not it wasn't at, I think it was either at the Fox.
It was at the Fox Theater.
Oh, okay. Well, then there's probably video evidence.
Comerica provided the ticket.
Gotcha.
Right.
Well, who would think that she would do business with Comerica, which is now Fifth Third, but somewhere down the road, the people might want something, right? They're not doing business with them today, but they might be doing business with them in 3 months and say, hey, remember when? Do you remember when we took care of you? That's how politics works. We all know that. 34% of Detroiters live in poverty, and they're making a show of it. A Hamilton-like show on TV. Let's get down and figure out what the hell's going on. They don't care what's going on. They're so out of touch with the community. I've never seen 2 politicians less in touch with the community. Going back to Hamilton, yeah, it's going to cost you $150, $150 probably to go see Hamilton. But I think these 2 candidates are going to cost you a hell of a lot more money than that before it's over.
So here's my thing about the tickets. So of course we don't know I don't know whether it's true or not, but the streets are saying that the tickets were she was given the tickets and then she sold the tickets. To go to your point, It started off small with a former mayor. This does not smell right. It does not look right. And it is not right, because if you selling tickets that was gifted, if you sell, first of all, it's very petty. That just sounds ridiculous. But say, for instance, you didn't sell them. If you gave them away, why can't you say it? Oh, they were given to me, I gave them away. To me, something does not smell right about that situation. And because of that situation, what else? As one of our viewers said, concert tickets today.
She's blowing off the public. She's blowing off the public that she's going to represent. We should probably take a break, but stay tuned, because we have our king, the king of the show, Adolph Mongo, will be here in very short order. And if you guys are excited, I couldn't be any more excited. I'm thrilled that he's back. So should we take a break?
Yep, we should take a break.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
We're back, Detroit in Black and White, our Wednesday evenings edition. If you are watching, like, subscribe, share, tell your peeps about the greatest show, on these YouTube streets. I'm going to address some of the comment. Deborah Harris says favors. Willis Martin 9196 said quid pro quo. Doria Denard says so. It's a no for Jim for Sheffield. Mr. Duckett 4006 says Mary being oblivious to her longtime donor stealing over $40 million while she was on the board of directors is a problem. Again, the media, not you, Allan, but the media has not really addressed that. They have not done it. Listen, I want to know. We want to know. We're the voters. We have the right to know. Now, are you responsible for what a grown behind man did? No. But are you responsible as a member sitting on the board? Yes. Should you explain to us what happened and say, hey, I sit on the board, but the board of directors needs to be held accountable as to what really happened? It was just like swept up under the rug, and I really don't understand that, but I do understand it.
So why, Allan, can you address that, please? Because it looks like to me that the free press and the news are in bed with the same group of people, the power brokers in Detroit. Who's going to be running the city? Penske, Carmanos, Gilbert, the Illiches? Business as usual in the city of Detroit with Mary Sheffield. That's what it looks like.
I think this is my feeling about the board, being on the board. I mean, clearly there were a lot of people on that board who did nothing, who were just really ceremoniously put on there to buffer, to embellish the lists and stuff like that. Mary was probably one of those, but the way she addressed that during the primary debates was she said, "Not my fault." What she should have said is, "I fucked up. I shouldn't have been on the board unless I was doing my due diligence. I shouldn't have had my name on the board if I was doing nothing." And then really what was really problematic is that Matt Cullen, who's the president of the board, who's, one of Dan Gilbert's, people, or previously, she said he's not to blame either. Well, I'm sorry, $40 million over, I think it was about a dozen years. I could see $1 million where you shave a little here, shave a little there, but $40 million, we're talking about some serious money, and for that to have happened like that is just crazy. I just wanted to point out real quick, I got a press release right now from Solomon Kinloch's people, and the headline of their press release says, Solomon Kinloch wins mayoral debate. Kinloch promises to invest in neighborhood as Sheffield struggles to defend her record. That's the spin, and we're going to see a more, and maybe we're going to see a more aggressive thing like this happening. But I mean, right now, if the vote were today, I'd say Mary's still way ahead. But it's not. You know, he's got 3 weeks to really go on the attack. He can't just say. He just can't promote himself. He's got to attack Mary. I think that's the only way to.
And you know what? Just like she has to be held accountable, like you talked about the $40 million and Matt Cullen and her standing there saying, well, he's not responsible for it. That turned me off. Everything else up to that, I was pretty open. But that right there, listen, if you're talking about being the mayor of the city of Detroit, you're going to have to take the good and the bad, the lumps as well as the praises. But the same holds true for Pastor Kinloch. Listen. If you bought a house with the church's money, people want to know.
Mm-hmm. There he is. Let's all keep our fingers crossed that Karen gets what she wants.
How did Mary talk about buying stuff with her preacher pimp daddy use all the so-called church's money for buying all kind of shit, and she calls herself a minister? She full of shit. She was a lying piece of shit tonight. But this is who, if the people want to elect her, well, that's what you get, you know.
And when you read on the debate, who won it?
I think Kinloch did well tonight. I thought he could have he had opportunity to put a knife in her throat, because when he talked about her consorting with criminals, she didn't answer. She went straight to something else.
Right.
You know, he should have stayed on that. He should have talked about the bottom line is she likes the position of being mayor, but she don't like doing the work. You know, she said all this shit. She got 12 years to make up stuff. But you know, but I thought he did well. He should have did this from the beginning, and that should have been. I mean, he was pretty good. There's no question, and he was forceful. I think he won some votes. Is it enough to make this a race? You know, too bad we only had one debate, and it's 3 weeks. One more.
27th, I think, on Fox 2.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So yeah. So anyway, it's good to be back, y'all.
Everybody said welcome back. Everybody's been asking about you week after week after week because they miss you. They love you.
Well, in August, end of August, I went to went to Oklahoma. You know, me and the wife is traveling to all 50 capitals. This is 42. Get into Oklahoma City. That's where the capital at. Go to the hotel. I wasn't feeling well anyway. Went to sleep, woke up in the middle of the night. My stomach was hurting. I said, I think I need to go to the hospital. The hotel called the EMS. They came. Then the pain stopped. They said, well, you seem all right otherwise. Do you still want to go? I said, yeah. And that's all I remember. Waking up, I had emergency surgery, bowel obstruction.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, man, unless I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. And hey, but I can walk, I can talk.
Right.
And you know, and then my friends, Vanessa, I talked to Vanessa. Well, you know, because I don't think she understood a word I said.
Yeah, I understood. I said I love you, and you said I love you too. That's all that
Okay,
matters to me.
that's all. And for me, you know, it costs. I didn't know how to take a medical air flight, 20 grand, 25 grand, all kind of shit.
Wow.
But my friend, the former police chief of Trenton, Michigan, flew down there with another friend named Stephanie, who's a nurse, and we took a Delta. We had credits with Delta, and it brought me back home. I was in a wheelchair, but not for long. And here I am. You know, I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. I was in a hospital rehab for 3 weeks. You know, I dogged out uh, Oklahoma a lot. You know, they're a red state. But the people I dealt with, the medical people, the nurses, folks, regardless of what I think about the politicians, I'm going back there because I need to see the Capitol, which I didn't see. I heard it's a beautiful Capitol, etc. And you know, so and the people was great. The medical people was great. I was in one of their top hospitals, and they took care of me. I'm telling you, and the surgeon that operated on me, she did her internship at Henry Ford. So we had a Detroit connection. And all I remember, I was half dead. Somebody said, you know, and that's the guy, the Michigan guy, y'all lost. Oklahoma beat y'all. I said, okay, okay. And yeah. So here I am. You know, I got a few challenges, but you know, you can't
Some
let
re-
it stop you.
some really strong women came to bat for Adolph, and I got to give those ladies credit. Vanessa, Teresa, Stephanie with a Y. I cried when I called her, and she said, "Yeah, let's go get them." I'll never forget that. If I live to be 130, I'll remember that moment for the rest of my life. That young lady, who's as skilled and talented a nurse, and she tunes into the show. I cried like a baby.
And I want to say, my wife took,
Just
and,
get ready to say
and she wasn't there to be
absolutely.
asking the questions and
Yeah,
making sure that all the shit. And she was telling me she kept a journal on her phone day by day. Listen, I and
she is
I
the
woke
CEO,
up.
right? She is the
Listen,
CEO.
I didn't think I was that sick,
Yeah.
but if I would have waited the next morning, they couldn't operate it on me.
Oh, really?
So
Dr. Mongo is the CEO for sure.
Yep.
yeah, she is. She
Found
took
out.
that business.
Yep. She made sure she kept us abreast of what was going on. I would text her, I would call her, and as soon as I knew he was much, much better because one day I called, I said, how's it going? She said, I'm out here. She's laughing. I'm on a wild goose chase for a corned beef sandwich.
But I couldn't eat it. They was feeding me through a tube.
Like,
For forever, I wanted water. I had no water. They She said I had at one time between 15 and 18 IVs stuck in one little thing. They had all kind of stuff, but that I wanted some water. And it's like, but I wasn't thirsty. But in my mind, I needed that water. I wanted food, but I couldn't eat it. I couldn't swallow it. And for a minute, I had a tube in my nose, and it was killing me. And doctor took it out. But it's like I look, and you don't know. I look like I just got out of prisoner war camp. And the weight you lose, and But I tell you, it's the folks, medical people. It pays to have a good medical people, and it pays to have an advocate. Because when you have an advocate, and you have advocates, and then my roommate from college, Mark Brown, attorney Mark Brown. I woke up, there he was in the room. He flew there.
Yep.
You know, it's like, my siblings are calling me, so it was, what can I say? I said, I survived. I did not realize that I was right there on the steps of the old man. I was going to be a consultant somewhere else, up or down. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad to be back. I did an interview with Channel 2 today. I made sure, even though I really wasn't up to it, I just come from a doctor, but you got to keep moving. You can't stop. You can't stop. No. And all the people calling me, now I heard you were sick. I said, yeah, now ask. Because people hate to ask. I know. I had all kind of phone calls, so I've been calling people back. Friend of mine who lived in New Jersey, he kept calling me, so I called him. I told him what happened and stuff. 3 months ago, he had the same stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said, "Ah, man, nobody wants to have that." That's Martin Wiley. You know him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's interesting, Adolph, is that people ask me. I got phone calls, and it's not my story to tell. Just like it wasn't for somebody else to tell the story. My position was, as well as Jim and Allan, we all agreed. Listen, if you have not talked to Adolph, who are you to be talking about some rumor that you may have heard? Unless you don't talk to him or you don't talk to his wife, how dare you do that? I also indicated that when you mess with us, if somebody mess with you, if somebody mess with Jim, if somebody mess with Allan, y'all gonna have a problem. You guys are gonna have a problem because we look out for each other. Adolph is a walking, talking testimony. And we
I dealt with a lot of stuff people don't know, and you know what? If you find out, you find out. I don't care, but I heard all kind of shit. I'm dead. Well,
yeah,
but I ain't dead yet.
that's right. That's right.
We all gonna die one day, but I ain't dead. But
because you got more.
man, it's not the be sick is that's and getting old and being sick. That's a bitch. I ain't lying. But good to be back with the crew. Y'all was holding it down. I know y'all was talking plenty shit.
Yeah.
I had lost my phone in Oklahoma, but I tell folks I stayed long enough in Oklahoma to register to vote. Yeah, but my vote probably won't count because I ain't voting what they voting.
Right.
Like I say, the politicians are knuckleheads, but the people and that I met there, they've been all right, and it just so happened we traveled to a lot of states, capitals. Some of them been this big, Maine, Vermont, Rhode Island, but to get sick, it was a blessing to get sick in a place, in a city that had a world-class medical facility. Because if we were in Augusta, Maine, they didn't even have a Uber. They had one taxi. What kind of medical stuff. They probably would have been flying me to Boston somewhere. Same way in Bernie Sanders, Vermont, which was that big. Montpelier, So you don't want to get sick in these little off the wall places. You don't want to get sick, period. But if you got to get sick, boom, they took me, and Jody said they had about 5 doctors, and they had a doctor of everybody,
Yeah.
black, white, Asian, So it was, I had a multicultural team of folks that took care of me. Same way with the nurses and stuff. I, I salute them. To get me back to and they were in contact with my doctors here, who was worried about what's going on. And so I had to come home. My wife said, because you got that insurance, they want to probably keep you another week or two. She said, "No, we going back home." She took me out of there. She said, "Yeah, we not staying there no more, even though it's been a pleasure." But yeah.
Right.
I got a question for you. Is there anything you could do for our viewers to avoid the situation that you were in medically?
No, because at one time I had a surgery,
Uh-huh.
and it was a while ago. And one of my doctors said, thankful when they went in there, it was scar tissue from the old surgery. It had built up. It wasn't something else. It wasn't cancer, because the cancer brings it on. I was clear to that. It's several things, but scar tissue. He said he said he felt better. He said, I didn't feel better that you was sick. He said that if it had to be anything, it was scar tissue.
Right.
And that's and it was happening. You didn't even know it was gonna happen sooner or later.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful. I mean, it's a good thing that it happened when it did, and that you insisted that you go ahead and go to the hospital.
You gotta know your body. You gotta know your body. You gotta know sometimes you don't feel good, and you say, well, somebody said go to the doctor or urgent care. You say, I'm all right. I can make it through it. But there's other times, like I woke up and I had my clothes on in 1 minute. Boom. It's like I was in the firehouse. You know how the fire bell rang, and they jump in their boots and they gone. They on the truck. And they got there, EMS, and like shit, 2-3 minutes they was there, And then they said, "You want to go to the hospital?" I said, "Yeah." And that's all and I guess I was answering questions when I got to emergency room, but I don't remember most of it,
All right. Well, I'm going to get to some of the comments.
Go ahead.
Paul said his knee from a 5-year-old injury has taken him out. Dorian Denard says God is good. He also said they were trying to save your black ASS. Kenneth Reed said there are at least 3 people who are still alive from the 1921 Tulsa massacre.
Yeah, we wanted to go there. See, that was all part of going to. They got a memorial there, etc. Tulsa is about 30 miles outside of Oklahoma City, and that's why I got to go back.
Okay.
I'm not shying away from it. I'm going flying right back into Oklahoma City. See, we had to fly into Atlanta. We was in Atlanta for 2 hours, and then to Oklahoma City. I'm surprised I didn't get sick in the airport at Atlanta. So yeah.
Yeah. Kenneth Powell said they have some pretty cool people in Oklahoma. Stephanie said God is awesome. True Sensation says the streets call it being a true G. Kenneth Powell said it's about the people. There was another comment on here that was pretty interesting. G Money Hollywood, good evening. He says you were fortunate to have doctors who were caring and true humanitarians who looked out for your health. There are some doctors who are biased and refuse to give their 100%. Most important, spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah,
Roger.
Roger Durham said he had the same surgery at Sinai. Dr. Barnwell saved his life. And Stephanie says, let's give God all praises because the story could have been different.
And I just want to say one. Go ahead, Ada.
No, you go ahead, Jim.
I just want to say something to our family out here, right? I'm thinking back to Jill Sheridan because she asked a question and she said Adolph was on vacation, and I said kind of. I mean, we weren't trying to deceive anybody. We just felt that it was Adolph's story, and we wanted to wait, and so there was no effort to deceive anybody. We were hopeful. He was on vacation, and it was an awful long vacation, and we're blessed to have him back. And
if I went on vacation, I would have been calling in. Right. I would have been listen. Hey, Jill, I don't want that kind of vacation. Yeah.
We weren't trying to be dishonest. We just thought that Adolph should tell the story when he got back.
Yeah, but the lawyer in me said that he was on vacation. He was on a vacation, but his vacation was extended, and it was not my job, nor was it my business to tell his business. So,
but this is our family too, and we don't want to deceive our family.
It's a hell of a thing to lay in the bed for almost 2 months. I see why people can't walk and all kind of stuff. I could not walk. It's like, man.
And you walking now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a therapist working out and stuff. I got a nurse that comes see me. I got all kind of amenities, But
yeah, should we take a break and then come back? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Why don't you do that?
Homeownership opportunities are rising in the city of Detroit, and there's a house out there that's right for you and your family. You don't even have to worry about credit or getting a loan. You can win a house for as little as $1,000 and pay for the renovation cost as you go. It all starts at buildingdetroit.org and the Detroit Land Bank Authority. Our auction and Own It Now programs offer a variety of houses and neighborhoods all over the city of Detroit. These homes are in desperate need of repair and new ownership. You can begin by going to our interactive map and detailed property listings to find the right fit for you. It won't be easy, and renovation costs are not cheap, but our compliance team is there every step of the way. We will help you track your progress and connect you with local discounts to save you more money. We have already sold more than 15,000 homes in the city of Detroit, and our inventory is shrinking fast, so you don't want to miss out on this wonderful opportunity. Start your home buying journey today by visiting buildingdetroit.org. Homeowners.
We're back, Detroit Black and White, our Wednesday evening edition. We have been joined with the great Adolph Mongo.
Ain't that great?
Wow.
I'm just a human being.
We biased. We biased.
Well.
I don't know, Jim. I don't know if it was you, Jim, or Adolph. You had something to say.
Well, I just wanted to say this, and I'm sitting here thinking about this. I don't want to get too emotional, but sometimes people get what they give, and Adolph has been so generous to me and others, given opportunity. And I'm thinking about Teresa and Stephanie. I know Stephanie's here. She knows. I'm not going to reveal who she is because she doesn't want that. But she worked with Adolph on a little project that I was a part of, and Teresa worked on that little project, and Vanessa worked at. We all let's be kind to one another because sometimes things come back to you. And Adolph has been so generous, and people know who he is. And they wanted to help. People wanted to help. And I'm grateful for that because there's some amazing people in this world.
Well, you know what is? I was surprised, Listen, I'm basically keep this shit to myself. Mm-hmm. But there's some stuff you can't you can't keep, and when you got people working as a team. So yeah. it worked out. When I went to the airport in Oklahoma City, saw Jim and Stephanie there. It was like, damn, we and I was with my CEO. She, she was she was taking me out of that hospital rehab and taking me back home. So yeah, you gotta have an advocate, you gotta have a spokesperson, but you gotta have people that like what they do and they had no problem doing their work. So
Do you have anything? You quiet.
Who?
what?
You quiet, Allan.
I'm just taking it all in.
I think he's going to write a story.
You happy to see your? I know he's going to write a story. You happy to see your middle school buddy back?
Adolph?
Yes.
Sure, absolutely. Thrilled.
We were in homeroom together. We cheated on a social studies test together.
Right, right.
He gave me the answers because he had the class before me. It was a true or false test.
It was true. Yeah, 50.
They were all true, right?
Yeah, we go to lunch.
The
And he
teacher
sitting next to me. I look around. He the only one talking to me. He said, "Hey, Miss Turner said she gave us the answer. Don't tell anybody in other classes. The answers is all true." I said, he's trying to set me up, So I go in to look at the test. I said, I gotta, do 2 or 3 false, and I had the highest score. Yeah, he gave Allan Lengel. Okay, you're gonna be prosecuted by Trump.
I was first hour. She said the answers after he handed said the answers are all true, but she said I'm giving the same test to the rest of the classes, so don't tell anyone. So when I saw Adolph, I'm like, all true.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I want to add that he's back, but he said that he still has some recovering to do. So he'll be joining the team, but it may not be for the whole.
I'll do some segments and stuff, but you know what? It depends on how I feel. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday might be a real good for me, but yeah, but I'll contribute. Y'all have me a little bit.
Yeah.
I say, fuck the Tigers.
Well, I was right. Fuck the Tigers. Fuck U of M. Fuck the Lions.
Did they lose? Did the Tigers lose?
Yeah, Tigers 15 innings. I was one of the idiots that sat up there and listened to that shit.
I watched it till after it ended at 1:10 a.m.
I wouldn't even watch it. I was just going on my phone,
Right.
and I said, and then the only time I turned it on, the Mariners had 2 or 3 people on base. I said it's over with, and that was it. Yeah.
So, Adolph, I have a question to ask you. You watched the debate. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I'm gonna watch it later on. Like I said, I got a lot of phone calls. Vanessa, you watching it? I was like, no, I was out. Do you think that this debate is going to make a difference in the race?
I think the person that's gonna benefit the most from it is Reverend Kinlock. I think he pick up those few people that really don't want to vote for Mary, and there's some people that don't want to vote for her, but is voting for Reverend Kinlock worth it? I think he'll pick up some of that. And those people that support Mary gonna support her, regardless of she said nothing, not one fucking thing. She didn't say nothing, and the Reverend was right. It's that same old politician doublespeak that we hear all the time. Why did it take 12 years to talk about kids in education? He was right on the money on a lot. And I know he can stick a dagger in somebody. He had the opportunities, and he did a couple great things. But I thought overall he did well. But from what I calling out Robert Davis was great. He told her, y'all, I didn't hire people like an operative coming at me named Robert Davis. She couldn't even come against that. So yeah, he did well. He made it an issue. He needed to change up the last 3 weeks or so of his campaign, because I know he got people out in the neighborhoods. If she already pulled back her folks and they giving people jobs and all kind of stuff, and he still got people out there working, it could be a difference.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
going to have to be pretty intense, though, for the next 3 weeks.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Well, one of our viewers, Dorian Denard, says that Eric has been talking about education. Well, it was Adolph who started off saying, don't you think that the mayor should run the school? So it was both of them that started the whole education thing, and it caught fire. And then the politicians, the people who running for office, they wanted to talk about it. Well, I say stop talking about it and be about it, because you can talk about it all day long, but what are you doing about it? You still haven't said what your plan is. Yeah, education is bad, and yeah, I plan on working with the school system. Work on them in what capacity? Doing what? What is your? Those are the things that I think that I, as a voter, want to hear. Even though I don't have school-age children, as I tell people, I am a VG. And my grandsons are not living here, but if they were, when my son was living here, he was like, they're not going to Detroit public schools, and that is awful. That is awful. So things like that, things like affordable housing, things like, fixing the neighborhoods. I think somebody said in a comment there was some conversation about work being done on the east side, where east side Allan is from.
Crash it, Allan.
Right. But why is that just a conversation now? And again, you could talk about it all day long. What is going to happen over there? What are they doing over there?
So that's the beauty of elections, that it forces issues that sometimes are dormant. But it's right. It's correct to bring it up and say why now. But thankfully, we at least have elections where those issues are being addressed.
Well, there's people at the Free Press and the news and Channel 4, 2, and 7. They know all the dirt on Mary. They're going to do the same shit that they did with Kwame. They had all the dirt on Kwame. But they anointed him that he was the mayor. His daddy was in the same position as Reverend Sheffield, and they're gonna wait till she implode, and then they're gonna say, she gonna say Kwame 2.0, instead of saying now, asking her, why are you hanging out with people that bribe elected officials? Why you miss all these committee meetings on economic development? Why did you not see where Smith stole $40 million?
$40 million.
43.
Yeah, and she defended it. So yeah, those are the questions. If I was a reporter again, that I would be going after. But I know I would have had to deal with editors who sat there and they didn't know jack shit, and they said, no, we're not doing it. You gotta know. Well, you can't really prove it. It ain't against the law to be around those folks. But if that was, they beat Coleman Young up so bad over some cougar rhymes.
That's a question. I have a question for you. How big a deal should it be with Horace Sheffield that, people have drawn?
Is he going to run the city or is she going to run the city? Now, that's the question you ask. Who's going to run the city? When he come in, I know he's looking at that land bank because that's what he does. He's going to bring in Al Sharpton and all these people, and they going to, man, it's going to be a hot town and an old town tonight. Yeah, you need to look at it because they slept on Bernard Kilpatrick, and they shouldn't have because he was a seasoned politician. He was selling his advice. I'll get you to the mayor, 10 grand, 15 grand, or whatever.
That sounds like Trump.
Yeah,
that's $1 million for Trump, though.
Yeah, there's no question.
So I like Adolph. If we could talk about a couple of our contributors here, that's what I like about our family. Dorian says it right. He hits it right on the head. She's not up for the task of mayor. I lost it.
She likes the position.
She's a
but she don't like the work.
She's a lapdog for Duggan and the oligarchs. We all know who Robert Davis, Derrick Henry, he's a paid troll. Kenneth. Here's the thing, Roger West, Robert Davis goes out against everyone. Let me ask you all a question about Robert Davis. We all know Robert Davis, Freeman Hendricks, Derrick Henry. So why is it that Mary Sheffield is always involved with the people that are on the wrong side of the law is a bigger question, because Robert Davis is a convicted felon, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and she's saying, "Oh, I don't know if we know nothing about that," but she knows about it. There's a lot of things, and you look at what she did before she became a council person. So cell phones and stuff. That's us, Kinlock was building a flock.
A lot of these folks, Adolph, and I'm grateful. The people here on the right of us, to the right of us right now, Roger West, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Reed, Deborah Harris, G Money Hollywood, talking about health challenges as part of existing. Queen Bee, always been with us. So many. Karen Winston, MZ, Dorian, great, always has great commentary. Edward, those people kept us going while you were gone. I want to salute them. Really, they've been great. So
salute them.
Yeah, Eric Brown says he's been saying the same thing, Adolph, that they're going to expose her, and blame the electorate for not doing better in picking a successor to Duggan. Well, here's the thing. You have a previous, we call him co-host, who said everybody knows about Robert Davis, but the ordinary citizen voter will not resonate with them. You know why? Because the ordinary citizen voter, all they do is vote. They don't participate. They don't participate in the sense that they make educated decisions about who they're going to vote for. If the newspaper says that we're endorsing this person, if you receive a flyer that says this person has this endorsement for all these people, these organizations, well, that's a good thing. So that's who I should vote for, as opposed to asking these hard questions. Like Adolph said, who's really going to be running the city? Is it your father? Is it Duggan? Is it what's the guy's name? The guy that owns all the property, Dan Gilbert. Who is it? Is it the big money people? Those are the questions. It is. And listen, what is your relationship with these people? Those are not the questions that.
And she said something tonight about taking those tickets, saying it wasn't against the law, because they play all kind of little games with this stuff. But anyway, well, I'll be back for a segment this week. Enjoyed being on tonight. Thank y'all.
Welcome back.
Mr. Duckett. So this is a question that we can answer on the next show. Is Horace Sheffield the next Bernard Kilpatrick, Adolph?
Yeah. And listen, I work with Horace. I've done stuff with Horace. I know Horace. Listen, I worked with Duggan. I ran his media when he ran for prosecutor. Listen, I know Robert Davis. You know, this is it's like being a participant in a debate. You got to know both sides of all this. So, and I've been in this game so long that it's obvious I've been allies and I've been on the opposite. I don't have a problem calling people out. And you know, people like to jump on the what they see as the winning side. I jump on what I see as the right side.
Right.
And I tell people, you need me before I need you. And who called me when he was backed in the corner? It was Kwame Kilpatrick because I didn't support it, you know. So anyway, thanks for letting me vent. I haven't vented in a long time, and I'll see you real soon.
All right. All right, people. We wrapping up tonight. We'll see you again on Friday evening at 8:30 p.m. The greatest show on these YouTube streets. So we'll see you 8:30 p.m. Friday evening. Love you guys. Bye.